The man was preparing to drive a motorbike back home when a person in a vest sat on his car. Before he could ask for anything, the person wearing a vest listened to the phone and told him quickly. The man, who was new to the city, did not understand why, so he could only drive away. After coming to the place where the vest asked how much it cost, the person wearing a vest used him as a motorbike driver. The man had never carried passengers, so he could only say, "How much you see?" Unexpectedly, the wearer gave him an amount of money nearly equal to a day of his previous salary. Seeing that money was so easy to make, and having recently lost his job, he decided to become a motorbike taxi driver. Because there were many guests, he came to the door of a supermarket, but he had just parked his car when other drivers taught him a lesson. If you want to pick up guests, go away. This is our area. Seeing that the opponent had many people and intimidated him, he didn't dare to say anything and drove to a more deserted place. It seems that this money is not so easy to find. When the man was thinking whether he should continue or not, a guest ran over. After arriving, he still said, "How much you see?" On the way to return home, he was fortunate to have a third guest. This guest looked like the previous two. He did not carry cash. After the car stopped at the construction site, he said he stood by the road waiting a bit. He had to get money to pay. Worried that this guest would run away, he was surprised when the man gave him a lot of money. When he felt this money was too much and wanted to return it, the opponent drove away. When he was about to go home, he saw an antenna left at the construction site. After obtaining the manager's consent, he took the antenna home. After installation, the television not only had more channels, but his antenna also became a topic of work on the ostrich farm. That day, someone suddenly told him his older daughter's hearing aids had fallen into the tunnel. It is the most valuable thing in the house. Karim hurriedly returned home. Arriving at the gate, he saw a lot of people standing around the tunnel. It turned out that the children were in the tunnel with fish, and the daughter had grown up on the ankle. The result was she was not careful and dropped the hearing aid into the water. Karim went down and said that fish could only live in a clean place, not in this muddy water. This place can only have mud and bacteria. There are still snakes. It is not about to have fish. The children thought that just cleaning up here and replacing it with clean water, then dropping in goldfish to feed, waiting for goldfish to lay fish big enough to sell, until then they would become millionaires. Karim thinks that this water tunnel is clogged. This pile of mud takes many years to clean, and this water cannot be cleaned. Everyone groped after a while and was lucky to find the hearing aid. Karim carefully wiped it, handed it to his daughter to wear, and asked if she could hear anything. The older sister turned to look at the younger brother. The younger brother signaled to his sister. My sister said it was possible, but Karim felt something was wrong. He told his daughter to step back a few steps and turn around. After that, no matter what he said, the girl did not hear. He realized the boy had tricked him. Karim stood up and wanted to beat him. Fortunately, the boy ran quite fast, and Karim was also stopped by his wife. Seeing that the girl would have a test in a few days, Karim brought the hearing aids to the doctor in the town. The doctor finished checking and discovered they may have been broken, asking him to go to the city. Hearing that without a warranty it would spend a lot of money, Karim was at his wit's end. In order for the girl to take the test smoothly, Karim looked to the boss, hoping to be able to get an advance on his salary. Not waiting for the boss to agree, a busy farm manager asked Karim to help. Just because for a while he forgot to close the gate and an ostrich slipped out. The other people who saw them were excited as if they were cheering and fleeing. Karim saw this and hurriedly called for people to catch it. However, everyone runs on two legs. After all, compared to the two large legs with extremely fast speed and skillful movement of ostriches, it quickly left the crowd. Seeing running was definitely hopeless. Karim rushed to drive a motorbike, waiting for someone to chase. In just a moment, the ostrich was missing. He ran to the top of the mountain and did not see its figure. An ostrich is worth a year's salary. If he couldn't find it, he not only lost his job but also faced a giant sum. To find the ostrich, Karim went home to get specialized tools. He got on the motorbike and drove away. He not only found an ostrich feather here, but also discovered an egg. He knew the ostrich was definitely nearby. In the beginning, after an ostrich appeared on the mountain, its movements looked stiff and not very natural. It turned out that Karim was hiding below. He was pretending to be an ostrich, hoping that he could attract the attention of the missing ostrich. He met people at 90 degrees under the coverage of long ostrich fur, walking indefinitely under the scorching sun. Regardless of whether he ran to all the peaks around, the missing ostrich did not appear. When Karim returned to the farm, his entire clothes were thrown out by the boss. Clearly, he was fired. Fortunately, the boss did not make him compensate and gave him an ostrich egg before leaving. Looking at the ostrich farm that he had dedicated nearly his life to, Karim felt unfair. Now it is clear that when I need to use money, I get fired. Although the work is not satisfactory, Karim still brought gifts home for the children. That job is not right for me. The first is the low salary. The second is without insurance. The third is that I do not want to live with ostriches for a lifetime. His wife heard nothing. The children were very curious about the ostrich egg. Karim told them to be a little careful. Ostrich eggs need proficiency. First draw an outer circle, then use nails to tap in a circle, then just break it. As a result, not only was the egg broken, but it also splattered all over the father and son. Karim could only blame the eggshell for not being very good. One egg made a full pan of tomato eggs. Although their family circumstances are not rich, they still shared eggs with many relatives and villagers, wanting them to taste it. After taking her daughter to school, Karim brought the hearing aid into the city. After the doctor finished the examination, it was completely broken. He could only buy a new one, or wait for an additional 3 to 4 months to buy at a cheap price, or go to the market to buy at a high price. Karim was helpless out of the hospital. Next, the scene is like at the beginning of the video. A person who flagged him down was a motorbike taxi driver. Seeing that the money is so easy, Karim definitely does this job. After that, he was not only lucky to wait for 2 guests, but also picked up another antenna. Karim feels life is full of hope. Planning to make a motorbike taxi, he washed the motorbike. He not only replaced the rear light, but also replaced the rearview mirror. By the time they went to work, it was not so easy, not only carrying people, but sometimes they had to carry goods. There were guests who scolded loudly. Some people made a problem, not only refused to pay, but also threatened to call the police. Karim, threatened, could only run in fear. He was just an amateur from the countryside. Every day after the job, he could find in the city what people left behind. Today at home, Karim discovered the children were in the water tunnel. He quietly came to observe. The children were pouring sand inside. Karim shouted. The children hurriedly ran away. Karim warned his son if he dared to go to the tunnel, he would get a beating. The son was determined to buy goldfish. Money can be earned by working. As soon as he finished speaking, water splashed down on his head, seemingly to wake the boy up. In the evening, Karim gave all the money he earned to his wife. He also said that if, according to the current income, it is possible to pay off the debts in less than 3 months. It is also easy to buy a new hearing aid. That day, he waited for a guest who was moving. The guest not only told him to wait, but also told him to help transfer things. Karim is inherently unwilling, and as a result, his clothes were torn. Fortunately, that guest is not bad. Not only did he give him a new outfit, but also paid him a lot of wages. That day when he returned home, he discovered that many children were searching for his treasure. Those were free things he picked up from the city, filled in piles in the yard. It turned out that the children just wanted to find something for the tunnel. He then discovered a blue wooden door was nowhere to be seen. When he learned that his wife had given it to others, Karim was angry. Coming to the relative's house, he demanded the door back, saying he had agreed to give it to another person. Next, he made to take the door away, completely ignoring the unusual gaze of relatives. The sun beat down, accidentally scorching the dry ground. The blue door weighed on Karim like a burden of tens of pounds. The heat rising, causing his eyes to fade and his breath to shorten. On the beds of straight soil, that small blue door was so busy and brilliant. Arriving home, his wife was because of the door and burst into tears. Karim's actions made her feel ashamed. Since going into the city to make money, you have increasingly become confused. Karim explained, we gave others a lot already. If we constantly agree with the requests of others, we will become empty-handed. His wife cried and returned to the room. Karim hummed again to the treasure that he had. To earn more money, Karim lied and left to join a transport team because shipping refrigerators would make more money. After queuing, Karim and the team were on the road. Unexpectedly, at a turn in the intersection, his car was in an accident. By the time he restarted, the car did not see the shadow of the transport team. He searched on the road for half a day and did not see them. Seeing that it was about to be dark, Karim just took the refrigerator home. His wife asked if he bought the refrigerator. Karim explained that he only temporarily stored it. Tomorrow would return it. He saw the expensive price of the refrigerator and wondered whether to keep himself or return it. Karim fell into deep thought. Over a night of ideological struggle, he brought the refrigerator to the old farmer's house market. The boss immediately offered a steam price. At the time the boss was counting the money, Karim drove away. He hopes to sell at higher prices. While he continued to find buyers, he saw the ostriches in a car not far away. They all looked straight at Karim. It seems they wanted to talk to him about preserving his honest heart. Karim was ashamed, finally driving the refrigerator back to the shop. The boss felt he was a good person, not only paying for the trip, but also gave him a small fee. At the same time, he also wanted him to go to work. That day, on the way home, he saw a bunch of children selling flowers on the highway. Looking closely, he realized it was his children and their friends. Karim stopped the car, directly crossing the highway to the other side. The children saw him. Fear was on their faces. Karim angrily kicked the children's flowers. "What are you doing, scolding all the time?" Before he could take action, the children were afraid and ran away chaotically. Arriving home, Karim still refused to let it go. He took out his belt determined to teach his son a lesson. It turned out that in their concepts, for their wives and children to go out to earn money was humiliating for the man. His wife protected the children behind him, explaining that they make money just because they want to buy goldfish. Karim heard that and was even more angry about the tunnel, taking out a hammer wanting to smash it. He had not gone to the tunnel when he saw a bird flying from the inside. Unexpectedly, the mud and dirt that was so dirty now became clean and bright. Even sparrows were nesting in the tunnel. Seeing the immature young birds, seeing the dried mud outside, it is not known how much sweating the children did to turn the sewer into its current form.
Karim temporarily fell into thought. Finally, there was no destruction of the tunnel. Without waiting for Karim to clean up the pile of treasure, suddenly the place where he stood collapsed. Karim was crushed below. The children saw and hurriedly ran to the rescue. Karim not only broke one leg, but was also seriously injured. There was no way to work, so he could only stay at home. His wife gave the whole treasure that Mr. Titch had collected to everyone. The house suddenly became bustling, and on Karim's face was helplessness and misery. The big girl smiled and helped him apply medicine. Karim said that waiting for his father to get well, he would definitely buy a new hearing aid. The girl told Karim it wasn't needed anymore. "I replaced the new battery for the hearing aids. Now you can use it." Karim was relieved in his heart. Then, when the daughter turned away, Karim called back and discovered that she still couldn't hear. He understood that this was a girl helping him to reduce the burden. Looking at the child obediently understanding the situation, Karim was a bit choked, tears flowing out of his eyes. Since Karim was injured, the villagers were enthusiastic to help. The house is even more bustling than before. Seeing people working hard in the yard and laughing, Karim's heart was full of emotions without words. That day, the little girl drew on his plaster cast. The tired son slept next to him. When Karim called his son to wake up to eat, his son's small hand was full of blisters. The boy had been going out to work to make money. That day, the boy gave the money earned to his mother to keep, and said later he could work overtime, so one day can make a little more money. She told her son to pay attention to stay healthy, but she was also sewing clothes for others to save money for her son. Karim silently saw everything, without saying a word. All families support their son's dreams, and he had ruined it. Today, when he went to the hospital to check on his son, he wanted to buy 2 boxes of juice, but because he did not have enough money, he had to buy 1 box. The boy gave him the orange juice box. Dad asked why he didn't buy 2 boxes. The boy said he didn't like to drink. The boy only took a small sip and gave it to his father. After that, they took a sip each, sharing 1 box of juice between father and son. A cousin drove a flower truck to take them home. The friends told their son they bought goldfish. They were under the flowers. The children dreamed of the future. If a fish lays 500 fry, then there will be more than 1,000. By then, we could become millionaires. The children happily made music. When they went to deliver, they all ran very fast. While they were trying to remove the goods, they suddenly discovered the goldfish container was leaking. To quickly check the condition of the water, the children began to throw flowers into the car. Hearing the sound behind, Karim thought nothing was wrong. Karim was injured, temporarily unable to get off the car. He also did not know what happened behind. The children carried down the water barrel quickly and carried the water tank towards the canal across the road, hoping to pour water into the barrel. If not, the goldfish inside would die. Unexpectedly, they had just fallen down on the road. All the fish spilled out. All of them were blankly on the spot. Seeing a fish jump, they reacted and quickly collected all the fish. Holding the water barrel, they discovered that the fall just now caused the box to break. The eyes of the children for a moment became despair. Because the fish would die on the road, they had no way but to push the fish
the ditch with cool water. Finally, they put the bigger ones into a plastic bag. On the way back, Karim saw them all depressed. There was an injured child with a hurt finger. Karim tore a piece of his shirt, carefully bandaging the child. To revive their spirit, Karim smiled and sang. "Flowers are over," we cried. "Remember the beautiful time. The old story is like smoke, so fanciful." With his great voice, the children also smiled. After returning home, the children ran to the water tunnel, releasing the only goldfish into the water. Maybe not long after, that fish could produce 500 fry. Wait until it becomes 1,000 fry. They can become millionaires. That day, Karim was in the resting room. A sparrow flew in from somewhere. The sparrow fluttered in the room, seemingly looking for a way out. So he opened the door, and the sparrow fluttered out. Karim looked on. At this time, the ostrich farm manager announced news. It was that the ostrich that fled had returned early this morning. Sparrows fly away, ostriches return. Karim has to be busy again. Looking at the big ostrich running like flying towards him, his eyes were filled with a subtle look. That moment, the ostrich in his heart was dancing. It erased a soft and noble dancing feather. Above is the whole content of the movie The Song of Sparrows. Do you think this movie is good or not? Leave a comment below. Thank you for watching to the end. Good night, and see you again in the next videos.